So, hello, Abs. So, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you so much for finding time for this. I know your schedule is extremely busy, so it was really, really nice of you to find the time to chat with us.
It's always a pleasure when we can do it. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite again.
Thank you. So, I would like to start talking about your journey. Your creative journey is somehow fascinating every time you talk about it because you're very young and you have accomplished so much. So, where do we start from? Were you always a creative kid? Did it start from your childhood?
Indeed, since always I loved it. And since I was a kid, I used to all sorts of DIY, cycling, coloring, painting. Been always busy, always busy.
Always be so. Color has always been there, in
Yes,
your creative journey.
it's a highlight.
It's the highlights. It
Colors
still
is
is.
everything. Yeah.
Okay, because you really have some bright and colorful releases. So I pictured somewhat this would be along in your journey all the time. So where did it actually start being a journey that would bring you to All and Create? Where did the job start?
Um, I guess it was 2008. 2008, when my sister received a handmade card. And she just showed me the handmade card, but she was more happy with the fact that she said something more than the actual card. And me, I was just looking at the card. Oh my god, this is handmade. How did they do that? So I kept looking at the card and I kept trying to understand what is it, how is it, and then she told me that the friend who's under the card, she did something called scrapbooking as well. And it's like, oh, what's that? And I googled card making, scrapbooking, all that. It took me maybe a year just looking online. And back then we didn't have social media, so it was all in the blogs and forums. There was a lot of forums in the past.
There was a lot of forums. You opened this closet of my mind, the forums. Oh
Yeah.
my.
So I started joining forums and just searching. And then one day I said, like, I've seen enough. I have to give it a go.
So what did you do? Basically, cards you colored, and you
It was
decided
mainly scrapbooking and with just whatever I could find near me and around me, like recycling things and then I start seeing now there's proper tools for it actually. It's not just recycling. And then I start learning about what other tools. And then some words like big shot. I was like, what's that?
what's that?
Big shot. I wasn't
Big
sure.
shot. Yeah, it's not really easy to figure out if you don't see the machine.
Yeah, because I translated word by word. I was like, what's that?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, and then a bit by bit, and then I remember my sister was giving holiday to friends, and
Huh?
so she got me like a little kind of parcel full of scrapbooking treats. So that was one of my gifts back then.
Do you remember the first die or stamp set that you got? The brand
Yeah,
of it?
the brand of it, it's called La Compagnie des Elfes, which is the blue
Oh
denim
yeah, the blue denim.
stamp.
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Are
that
they
brand.
still are they still on the market? I used to purchase
Uh,
those sets too because they were great
yeah,
for
blue
back.
denim is still around. La Compagnie des Elfes, they're not so around.
Okay, I get it. I remember my
Yeah.
first thing was Sizzix. I bought the Big Shot and a couple of and a bunch of dies. The big dies, those back in the days when when you could find only those dies
I
before the
know,
thing.
I know.
So, and how did the work journey start? Because I believe you did not start with All and Create right away, or did you? How
No,
did it go?
when Create was after. So six students, so I started publishing my work online with forums and blogs back then.
Mhm.
It all started when a French company approached me and they said like, "Oh, we love your work and we'd love to collaborate with you." And then they said, for me, it was all new things. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I didn't know what DT is. I didn't know what DT is. I was just doing something for the fun for myself and posting my blog, and that's it. And it's like, we wanted to join our DT, and I was like, what's DT? What does that involve? And then they explained me, and then a week later, two later, it seemed to have that big parcels full of product. I was like, wow, it's Christmas.
It's
This is
Christmas, of
Christmas.
course.
And then and it's asked for one. project a week or something like that. But because I was so excited, I remember the first week I delivered 15 projects a day. because I had,
Well,
because
that's very you.
because I couldn't choose which one to play with first, and they wanted to try everything. So I had to use them all, and they really like did my best to use everything. And then I said, yeah, and then I started working with them, and then another company approached me and said like, oh, we saw what you did for that company, and we would like to work with you, like to collaborate. And then the third brand and a fourth brand, and that was always within I said French and crafting
Mhm.
community because of the language, because of my native language, and I always started with them. Until one day, been approached by, if you remember the brand, it just literally shut down last year. Is the American brand Pepper Phone?
I'm sorry, I
They
just didn't.
used It's the second phone. It's called.
Ooh, I
They
probably
used to do
didn't.
this kind of subscriptions like kids every monthly kit. Like back then we had how's the other one? Not American Crafts. There's another one they used to do kits as well. It's CKS. What does that stand for? Uh anyway, so the second phone they say
I
the same
wasn't
thing that
probably
they
I
have much
wasn't
media.
probably into the world just yet, so I just can't really figure out. But it was a company that made monthly kits, and you were
Yes,
in
monthly kits.
different
So you
monthly
had
kits. Okay.
so they had like a few options. One is just for embellishments, like embellishment kit. One is have your stamps, stencils, and all of that. The other one has more of paper crafts goodies. And yeah, and they asked me to work for them, and then I joined that. So that's my first big international. Even though France was all the international for me,
Of
but
course,
because of the language and everything, it seems like it feels home when I was
kind
in
of
the French
home.
ones. Yeah, and so my first international was in the US, and that opened all the door to me. And I joined design team from Canada, and then I was designing for people in Australia, and then and all that while I was still a student, and I enjoyed it so much. And I remember I used to go to uni, and I just show my classmates, this is what I made last month.
So
And they were
you started in 20s in eight. So you were very very young. How old were you when you
17,
started? 17.
17.
Oh my God, you were a baby.
So yeah, so no, it's just so that, and then when it was that 2013, I think, no, 2014, sorry, I went to attend my first Belgian Scrap Paris, which is the biggest one
Uh-huh.
in Europe back then,
Yes.
the biggest show in
Yes.
Europe. And it was like I'm in Disneyland. I landed there and I booked the pass for the 3 days plus the VIP. It's meaning they used to do they call that la vente privée nocturne, which is on a Thursday night. And I
Uh-huh.
managed to get all through. I managed to get an invitation to that private night. So that's my first kind of official big event
Big trade.
when I met all these people and I met online and
Of
all this
course.
brand that I and all this brand
You connected
yeah
person, which is always so nice, you know.
and the brands that I've been working with online and working for and so it was that I think that show was a life changer. But also, I remember I went there. That's how everything started actually during that show because I wanted to have some magazine subscriptions, and
Uh-huh.
but not all of them deliver. I was still back in Nigeria, and but also I could. The subscription was very expensive because of shipping,
Of
and you had to
course.
pay the 1 year in advance, and the shipping to Nigeria was quite a lot. So it wasn't. But also, I said, like, you know what? When I go to the show, there's so many magazines standing there. I'm gonna walk around, see which magazine really fits my style and I like the most, and I offer myself, treat myself a subscription, a yearly subscription there. And then I walked into the show. The first magazine used to call Histoire de Page,
Uh-huh.
owned by Marie-Dominique Gambini. And Marie-Dominique Gambini is the one who launched Kabuki in France. Because her husband was an expat in the States in the 90s. So she moved in with him, and then she discovered that when Tim Holtz did that in like late 90s and all of that. And then she came back to France and brought that with her. And she launched
Uh-huh.
the magazine called Histoire de Page, which means layout stories, like each scrapbook layout tells a story. That's if you
Uh-huh.
translate in English.
Of
And then
course.
so I stopped by that magazine stand and I was just looking at the magazine, just there's couple of issues there on the table. And I was like, oh, I like this one. But it was my first one. I haven't had like a full idea yet. And then she asked me, it's like, first of all, she thought like I looked so young compared to the, I'd say, demographic in the show. And then also like a male that is, it was not quite often like see that. And she was asking me like, "Oh, what do you do? What are you into?" And then I explained her and I showed her some pictures in my phone I had. I didn't even have like proper smartphone back then. I had like proper camera, like my Samsung
Uh-huh.
camera, and
That was the time
uh,
of the cameras, yes. Not the
and
cell
did
phones, yeah.
yes, and so and then she was just like interested, and then she was telling me, and I told her that's exactly why I'm here for, and I'm having a look. And it was just chatting, chatting, chatting. And she
Uh-huh.
was literally the director of the magazine. She was not even just working there. Because I don't know, it's just like straight away to the director.
Right
And she
place at the right time, right?
absolutely right time,
Absolutely.
right place, everything. And then she started showing everything. And then she told me, listen, so she had a pile of, I don't know, 8 to 10 different issues, the previous issues. Like it
Uh-huh.
was not a monthly, it was like it's not really the other month actually. I don't remember how often. But anyway, so he had like 7 previous issues, and she put them in the bag, and she said, "That's for you." I said, "I didn't get what is it?" And then I said, "Like, oh, is she doing like some? She's pushing some sales, or what's that?" I was like, "She said, no, no, that's for you. Okay, so you can say." I said, "Oh no, no, no." I said, "I'm here to buy. Like, I don't, and then I don't mind paying for them. Let me have a look." She's like, "No, no, no. This is for me. You have to have them." So it was so kind of her. And then she said, "Show me again your work." And I showed her my work. And I said, "This is my business cards." And she said, "At the moment, we're recruiting, we're looking for designers to contribute to the magazine. We have some articles, we have some new stuff we add into the magazine and we're looking, and you're the perfect fit based on what you showed me. So, no, no, I want to connect more after the show if you're
Uh-huh.
interested." I ended up spending an hour and a half chatting to her and learning about the magazine, and she was learning about my work and everything. And then at the end, she said, like, and then at the end of that an hour and a half, not because
Huh?
she was so friendly and kind, I really liked the magazine, what they stand for, but also the style and the work is right off my street. So I said, "This is the description I want. I don't even need to see others now because that's perfect." This is that. So I told her, "I want to pay for a yearly subscription." She's like, "Well, so like we're recruiting. If we recruit you, they have to pay because you get for free because you'll be working for us." I was like, "Oh, even better."
That's an extra gift. So you were printed in a magazine. I don't know. When I started crafting, there was very little chance of getting magazines here. Well, Italy actually probably never got any magazines, but we got some from abroad. I never really saw anything from France, so I kind of missed your magazine editions. That's bad. So how
I
was
still
that?
have
Did you?
I was I still have Muslims, and then I flew back to Algeria, and then we had a phone call, and then we had back then it was Skype. It was Skype that we Skype
Yes.
with Skype, and then
Kind of
I said, yeah,
bring us back to the years, years and years ago.
oh, we're dinosaurs. We are dinosaurs,
That, well, I am a dinosaur. You're a baby. Come on.
and then that was my first officially, I'd say, professional. I don't know how
Well,
to
it
describe it
started
because
with
kind of
paper. It's kind of a cycle. It started with
yes.
paper.
But also that Skype call, she invited her director, like
Uh-huh.
creative director. She invited all the people who work for the magazine. And the magazine had all these faces, all these people. And me, I was like a little boy there in the middle. I was thinking like, it was so overwhelming. And then they started asking me and explaining how they work and everything. And they offered me the job straight away. And I was like, "This is what we want. Like your style is exactly what we're looking for."
Uh-huh.
And so I remember I once said to my dad over this thing, and I was considered. I was thinking like, "Oh my god, probably I cannot never deliver what they ask you for because of limited time I have with my
Of course.
degrees I was doing back then." And all that. But I was so excited. Really want so badly to do it. So I said yes.
Because you were studying at the time. Where were you living at the time?
I was in Algiers, the capital. I was in Algiers.
Of
Yeah.
course. And you, because I remember you told me you have many degrees. So your life has
Yes.
been a full journey
Six.
of studies, and you've been working and studying along, just, at the
Yes.
same time. You're a busy boy. So how did you deal with the two things? Because I believe the commitment of the DT was pretty massive,
Mm.
mainly because you loved it, but I know that you really dedicate yourself to what you commit to.
I
So
think I
I
think
believe
it's
it was really,
dedication.
yeah.
I think it's dedication because I really wanted badly. I really wanted it. I was so happy that I was honored and chuffed. Like I literally went as a visitor just to write
Yes.
a magazine, and then I ended up with this massive job opportunity. And so I was young. I had more energy than now as well. And so ambitious and so full of life. And yeah, and
Well,
then my
you
first,
still do have a lot of energy. You never stop. So I suppose that's one of your main traits, I believe.
and they gave me on the next issue, which was my first official issue working with them. I got 9 pages, 4 articles,
9 pages.
just about me, 4 articles, different articles throughout the magazine, and the fifth one was an interview to introduce me to their like their audience and their customers
Of
and
course.
the readers, magazine readers, and then interview and that magazine I still have it to today. And then when I got it, like, oh my gosh, thanks to my family, to my friend, I was like. And then 6 months later, so obviously I didn't
Huh?
work with them all the next issues. And then 6 months after that, I even did the cover of the magazine. I was the cover of the
Oh,
magazine, and that was like, yeah, that was a big thing. So I worked with them from then till 2000, till the end actually, the magazine when I stopped. And then I'm contributing in the beginning to some articles. I
uh-huh.
was doing some artwork for them, and then it went all the way to become their creative director of the magazine.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the magazine just stopped just before COVID because people switched
Mm.
a lot to online, and magazine was not a thing anymore, like a printed copy. Some people still like printed hard copy. I do love a hard copy,
I'm old,
but
so I still really love the touch of paper and
yes,
the smell of
hundred
paper. So
percent,
if I do
hundred
find them, I
percent.
really do appreciate
I
them.
used to have it. I used to have it in my backpack all the time. When I get to uni, like between when I have a break or something, I would to read them, to read it, and just have a look and just keep my brain fresh, inspiring myself, and then yeah, so that's my journey with them. But during that journey working for the magazine, I launched Oltre Create before, and I was still working for the magazine.
During the collaboration with the magazine. Okay.
So I
What year
finished
was
my
that?
2016,
16.
and the
Oh,
magazine was till
oh, it's
around
10 years this year.
2019.
So
Yes,
this is the
October.
10th anniversary. Oh my
Yes,
God. You need to celebrate
big time.
big time.
So, as I said, like, all the way before I launched Volunteer Create, like 2014, 15, it was my peak time when at some point
Mhm.
I was designing for 9 companies. I was in 9 DTs. I was in 9 design
Wow.
teams,
How
like
did
all
you
over the
manage
world.
that?
God knows, honestly, if you ask me today, how did you do that? God knows. I have no idea where I found the time. And I was not just doing like just the rushed work. I was really quality and I was pleased with it. I was literally waking up in the morning, go straight to work in my art room
Oh
and then
my
do
goodness.
something
You were
and
not
then get
studying
on.
at that time.
I was,
You were studying.
and then
Okay.
I get on with my day, go to uni, do whatever I want, come back whenever I have a spare minute or two, go and create paint. And remember, sometimes I used to go to uni, and I even take shower and clean, but I still have some painting on my nails that I'm not easy to go with. So all my classmates they know like, oh, I've been painting last night, and sometimes I correct them like, no, it was this morning.
So it was
Whatever.
busy for years. Oh my goodness. 9 DTs and you launched your company and you attended
And
college.
this, so when I think that 9 companies working for them and I see the different style between the Australian people, how they do it, and the American, all of that, that's why I got the idea of launching my company because I find something really, really fascinating and really amazing about all these different design teams. For example, let's say we all have the acrylic paints and
Mm.
jelly plate, for instance, or stamps, whatever. And the same thing in Australia, same thing in Canada, same thing in the US, same thing in South Africa. But the way they approach things and the technique they use is so different, and everyone has its own culture of doing art. And I love that variety. And I was thinking, like, and me back then, thousands. Yes, I moved to the UK back then to do my MBA. So I
Mhm.
was doing my MBA. So I was living in the UK and I was attending some shows in the UK, and I started learning about the UK culture, like how they do art and how they do crafting and all of that. And I found it completely different to the French one as well. And I was like, wow, there's variety. And because I had the opportunity to work with different teams, throughout my work, I was flirting between techniques, and so that's why the magazine also loved it because my contribution was always different to others. Because I remember at
Right.
the point, that's why she gave me a higher position. She was saying, like, when we do next time the roadmap for the next issue, like, I was contributed to the roadmap as well. So, like, tell us what's occurring in the other side of the world. What's happening? What are the trends? What are this? And I used to get her all these sponsors, like people to sponsor like different brands to advertise, and like Australians and all of that, especially Australia. At some point, I was like really known in Australia. And so I said one day there's a massive gap here in like in the UK, but or in Europe in general. I said like I would love to launch before it was not even a brand when I launched Bunch Creative.
Uh-huh.
It was I launched an online school. It used to be an online school to create the first year.
Oh.
So I wanted like
I
that.
think I met you when you were already a brand and you were already
Yes.
selling
Oh,
to
that was
retailers.
that
Sure.
escalated fast. That escalated fast.
Fast. I
Very
didn't,
fast.
I
Even
don't
me, I
know
didn't
why I
know.
imagined
Even me, I
that.
didn't know it was happening until I said like, oh, I guess it's happening. So what I wanted is an online school community. I wanted just like for education mainly, and I wanted to gather all these people from different background, art background, and way of using the technique and the product in one place. So everyone can same to the same thing, but everyone do it differently. So I want to get a place for everyone, no matter what's your style, no matter what your level. You just started yesterday or 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. There's something for everyone, and that's how Oltre Create was born.
Hmm.
And then I said like, and I wanted to teach online classes in that school and show them what I learned, but I knew that on my own I can never do it. So and I was doing my MBA back then, so it's like, oh, perfect timing to do business plan and use all what I've been learning, like literally like put together my passion for art and my skills for that and my what I'm learning at uni, like
Which is
put them
really two
together,
different worlds if you can,
complete.
you know? Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and then I said like I need like okay, some people know me here in Australia, some people know me there, some people know me in the US or Canada, whatever, the UK. But I knew that I would never reach a big audience straight away if I wanted to have successful online school. And so I had to invite some people to teach with me, some talented people. And I looked online, and then I said, I started sending invites. For example, I'm sure you know Karin Kaznab Tapi, like one of the big naming friends, Karin
Yeah.
Kaznab. She has the brand exactly de Carré, and there's Manuela, the brand L'Encre
Of course.
l'Image. Yeah, yeah. There's some
Yes.
Americans, and I started sending invites to all these people. This is my project. This is what I want to do. Blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, like, if I send 20 invites, if I get 5 positive
Responses.
replies, that's better than just me on my own doing it. So I sent that to 20 people, and the 20 said yes.
Wow.
And now I'm thinking like, okay, now we have 20 people, but also have to pay these 20 people. So I have to make it happen. I have to make it successful because I'm commitment. And I was so excited about it. And like, yeah, and then we developed the idea. We took it to the level, like we decided. It took us 6 months about 6 months, like because I launched it in end of October. I started working
Uh-huh.
in May, literally around this time. May, June, I was literally cooking properly. And then because I was working for the magazine, so I called the director, and they actually I flew to Lyon because they were based in Lyon. And I told her the idea, and she was so supportive, and she was really, really supportive. And then she told me like, for the next 3 issues, I can do an article about it, promote it for you for free, and also can advertise uh, like at the end when you can all this
Of
ad
course.
section, you can have that. And then so I did that, and I was so confident that it would work. I was so happy I did it. I launched it on the 26th of October. So I launched the
Uh-huh.
website, everything. And even the website I created myself, like watching YouTube videos, like how to do this. And I was using Wix back then. It was a Wix platform. And then this is how to do the front, this is how to do these sections. And I did all the website and did all the graphics for me and the teacher
You
worked
did it
with
all
me. And we
you
launched
did it all by yourself.
100% from scratch. Yeah. And so I did all of that. We launched on 26 without revealing what the full project is, just to tease and create some buzz, and people start sharing and then let them guess what is it. And we did some giveaways straight away. If you guess what's it, you can win €100
Of
voucher,
course.
and which was the cost to enroll in one of the, like if you do the full package of the education we were offering. And I had no idea if it would work or not. I was thinking like, oh my god, like I have this big responsibility, this big is coming, and also have to
Because
pay
you
these
started
teachers,
with a huge bunch of people already in it.
a
A huge
huge
bunch
bunch
of
of people.
designers.
So it was all like when I did the business plan, it was all planned, but I needed a certain amount of subscribers, I needed a certain amount to make it happen, and I
Of
was
course.
so open there. And then we launched it a week later. We told them what's the project. I remember I did it like I said, like 7 p.m. we'll do it. So I launched everything on my website. I put my phone aside. I did not want to look at it. And then I went to sleep early because I did not want to. I was so scared if all these months of work, at the end, I would get 1 subscribers maybe, or maybe just my friend, just to support me, just my friend, because my friend was saying, "Oh, we'll join, we'll join." I was thinking maybe just my family and my friend would join in. I went to bed, and we were selling different packages in education. We had a package for 39 pounds was just for if you wanted just card making and anything what card makers, because that's a big thing in the UK. Where when I was in front, they don't do card makers at all. And then another package if we do scrapbooking and telling stories for your pictures and leave those moments
Uh-huh.
in that. And then we had another package for albums and journals. And then we had more in-depth techniques, which is one for mixed media and art journals, where you get more messy and more into art, that less crafting, more arty. So a
Uh-huh.
different package. And we had a dream package if you want everything, you can get them all
Ever.
at a very attractive price. And so I launched all these packages with everything, and then we shared it all over social media on our platform, the blog back then, the magazine did post about me. We all launched at 7 p.m. same time. And then I
Okay.
with my
And
phone
what did
silent,
it
that's it.
happen the next morning?
The next morning, obviously, the first thing I did is check my phone, and then I had over 1,500 people join it and paid.
Oh my goodness. How happy were you? Oh my God, that was a huge
Overnight,
surprise. Of course, it
a
paid back all the
huge.
hard work that you put in it, but still,
It paid back all the hard work. It was the biggest reward. Like I could not
it's a
believe it.
huge
And then even
wow thing.
and Wix back then, the app on my phone, every move in your website, they sent notifications. So I had like, and then I went to my laptop straight away from there. They opened it and I can see like how many subscribers, like how much money we made straight away. Also, like and the majority were going for the dream package, that most expensive, but not even just the small packages, because it was the first kind of idea of like this school for the kind of like styles and content that I was offering them, some variety, because I had teachers as I said, from Australia, from all over the
Uh-huh.
world. And then we had to launch it, and I was so happy. So I did launch it. And so the first 6 months was all what they paid for, like weekly class and
Uh-huh.
tutorials, videos. We had private group if they want to ask questions, show what they made. So it was really going really well. It's good. But and then one of the things is my customers start saying, like, for example, you're in Italy, like and then you took a class with one of my Canadian teachers. It's like, oh, I
Uh-huh.
love the class. I would love to do what I just learned. However, can't find in Italy that's product she's using because they're more local, small Canadian businesses, I would say. Like, and if you want to buy it there, like it costs you maybe fortune between the shipping and all of that. And then if I offer you 20 classes, 20 instructors from different countries, you end up buying this from Australia, buying that.
Of
And then
course.
everyone was saying, yeah, everyone was saying like that's the question was repeated all the time. We
Mhm.
love the content, but some of the things we can't do them because we can't find this product. So I said, okay, now I have another problem I have to solve now for this customer. Because I didn't want them to give up or not renew the next time or just stick to their local ones. I really wanted to. So I started contacting these shops in Canada and everything. It's like, oh, hey, do you want to collaborate? You want to do sponsoring, like an exchange. You can offer this to my customers and I can advertise you and all these teachers are using your product. So it's great promotion for you. And then loads of shops said, yes, of course. So they gave discount code to my students. They did offer free
Uh-huh.
shipping sometimes if you spend certain amount for them. So we really managed to solve the problem. And then it was, and then during the 6 months, because it's small was coming back, I had this idea. I said, like, okay, I did this school online, it's working really well. I wanted to continue because for me, education is
Because
very important.
at this point, you did not have your designs being used, not
No.
just yet. It was the school. It was a container of classes. Okay, when did you start designing?
The
Where
designing
did?
part came during those 6 months. During the six
Okay.
months, I said, like, okay, now I did all this school now. There's a big gap here in the market, like, especially in the UK and Europe, like all these product, all these types that they don't exist here. And then we don't have them here. So I would love to do. So I wanted the idea of the school, which is gather all the different styles under one roof.
Hmm.
I can do the same thing now with this product, the consumables, these goodies. I can also
Supplies.
design them.
Yes.
But also in my, because it's many teachers, but the classes I was teaching online, when I was showing them how to do compositions or create art clusters and all of that, um, I always had to use a stamp, use stencils, obviously, but at the end, they always have to do something hand, either like they draw something, add to it.
Hmm.
A lot of the customers like we can't draw, so we can't do that light bit. And even though I was showing them, they struggled with it. They struggled with it a
I'm
bit,
there.
and then they kept telling me like, if you can that drawing, you can't do it. Can you do it for us in it's like stamp? You would buy it as a stamp. And then and also my handwriting. I signed all my work, and when I sign it, I do it in a very like a quirky way. So it's a signature, but at the same time, it's part of the artwork. I don't like just to sign it just like in the corner, just my initials. I don't do that. My signature is also it's always like part of the work, which is my
Part of the work.
last name
Yes.
or my first name, but in a really quirky, edgy way that it's kind of included in the artwork. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, we would like as a stamp." He's like, "No, this is my signature." Yes, but you can write. And because when they card makers, when they do cut, they need sentiments. They need those sentiments. Like,
Yes.
oh my, you can do sentiments in your handwriting as well. So I started getting all these ideas, and it's like, there's a big market here. I need to do this, and that's how Oltre Creative was born. and I wanted to keep the same concept. So I invited designers with me as well that have different styles to me to design with me and to draw some well,
Because
different image with it.
you always had lots of designers too, and I remember we
Always,
once
always.
discussed that your releases were really huge, and you once told me I want everyone to be happy with it, everyone have its corner in
Happy,
the
that's the
release,
word.
so there has to be a lot because it's like 4 or 5 kind of products for each style, so it makes a lot, of course. But I think I
Yeah.
missed your handwritten stamps. Did you make handwritten stamps by your
Mm.
handwriting? Oh my god, I missed them. Do you still have them?
No.
No.
However, I'm relaunching for, well, exclusively, I'm saying it to you and to your
Exclusive, yes, it's a secret.
customers. Like, it's a secret, actually. No one knows about it. But I'm going to share it with just small details. For the 10th birthday in October, I'm relaunching some of the old, not some of the first designs I did,
Oh,
bringing them back
that's gonna
for
be
the
so
10th
nice for
birthday.
you
Yeah,
for the birthday. For the birthday of the brand. That's really a nice idea, and I'm
absolutely.
sure people will love that. Oh
Yeah.
my
So for
goodness.
the collectors will be happy.
I know. And the newer and the new followers, because during those 10 years, of course, the world of crafting in Europe, I believe, and in the whole
Evolved
world
a
has
lot.
changed a lot. We've had many events and many historical things that really changed us. And crafting changed a lot. So you have lots of new people and a lot of affectionate, of course,
Mm.
followers, but lots of new people that will be very, very happy to see those pieces of history of the brand. Okay. Do you remember the first stamp that you designed? Did you design, not another designer? Okay. What was that?
That's first it was all about texture. So it was all these kind of stains, splatters, coffee stains, uh, fake stitches. I all draw that. I literally create them. Like I remember I had this A4 copy paper, and I was just creating textures, and then I scanned them all. I scanned them all, and then I did some fasten cutting. I created my classes, get everything handmade, and then I scanned it again. And then with the software to play to clean it because
Uh-huh.
for the right guidance for the manufacturer and all of that. And then I made that stamp sets, and it was top seller back then. Another
It
moment.
will still be if you really if you want to do it again, then maybe people will buy it again. It's going to be so nice. The textures are always interesting, and I'm sure that a little piece of history of your brand will be so welcomed. I can't wait. We're not going to tell anyone.
We're not going to tell anyone, but we love background element.
So, in years, I've seen you collaborating with a lot of different designers. How did you grow your taste in picking designers, in your interest in new designers, in changing the evolution of the brand?
I think we grow with the time because even though I had kind of this different ideas about how I run the business, and that's what set my business and set me from the beginning different to anything in the market. At least that's what I hear all the time from my customers. And also, I don't believe in doing what's already out there because it's already out there. So if you're not coming and bringing something different to the table,
Mhm.
don't bother. That's how I see it. Don't bother.
Mm.
Like I always try to be different. They always try in everything I do. Even when I was a kid, everything like I always wanted something different. So like something was out there. There's no need for me to do it. They did. And for example, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember like 2018 when the craft industry went crazy about cactus? And
Yes,
every single company
I
was
was
releasing
in
cactus.
Arizona for the Sedona
Oh, everywhere.
it was cactuses everywhere, and I was not informed about the cactus thing at the moment, so I only connected it to the fact that the main trade show was held in Phoenix, so of course you have cactuses, but they were everywhere. Yes.
Buying cactus designs. And then my customers asked me, like, Abs, are you doing cactus designs? I was like, why? There's billions out there. Everyone's doing that. And then there's that blog, like they asked me customers, and then I replied, they said, no, I'm not doing it. There's no point because like it's already out there. Go and support those people.
Were you froze?
And criticize me for
Okay.
criticizing them for all jumping on the cactus trends. I said, like, no, so I've been criticized a lot back then for criticizing this trend. It's like, no, I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying I'm not jumping this trend because that's the point. And then I'm sending my customers to you. I'm saying, like, I'm not doing cactus. If you want cactus, there you go.
There you
And then,
go.
yeah,
What
it was
was
a
your response?
misunderstanding.
What was your response to cactuses back then?
I said, I'm doing lilies. You want cactus? I want to do lilies. No one is doing lilies. That
That's
was my
true. They're
response.
underestimated.
Super underestimated. It's one of
Well,
my
it's
favorite
true.
flower.
It's true. We have there's some topics in crafts that are a little bit overruled. There's too much of it, of course, and even though the interpretations might be
Flowers,
different, there's a
butterflies,
lot.
butterflies,
Yeah,
flowers.
I know. Those are kind of trends. They come back at some point. And it's true that you always brought in something different. Your designs are very different. The characters, the textures, the topics. I remember one of your stamps had an anatomical heart in it,
Mhm. Yes,
which
yes,
was
atomic heart. Yeah.
at first I saw it and I went like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I saw how you used it and I totally fell in love with it. So it's bringing up the new idea and showing people how to use that. So your designs have always been very peculiar. And I believe that those are your designs. The dogs, the cats, we discussed them maybe in
The
Frankfurt.
whimsical, yeah, the new whimsical. So it's been a year and a half. I'm doing this whimsical new. I'm sticking still to my style, but I'm adding more. And the whimsical, I did the dogs and the cats to start with, and then in March I did all the different ones. I included cow, mosquitoes, and chameleon, and a lot of it was like mosquitoes, like wild. And now Mia had this vision of that. And mosquitoes, no one likes mosquitoes. I don't
Not
like mosquitoes,
really.
especially growing up in North Africa. You know, in summer how when it's warm and the mosquitoes, like you don't want that. But I want, but when I did a collection about the mosquitoes back in March, and then I did this big, quirky
Big guy.
eyes,
Yes.
and the whimsical body, and one mosquito was like coming at the fashion show with a scarf, and the other one wearing like. So I kind of imagined this new way of loving mosquitoes, and I just think it was a crazy idea I got one day, and I did the same thing for the cow, and I called it "This is my portrait." I said when I wake up in the morning, that big cow with a big head. I said, "This is my portrait when I wake up in the morning." And then I did the frog with a frog. This is my portrait before going to bed when I'm tired. So I got all the, and then I launched it. And before launching it to public, I did launch to my supply, sorry, to my stockers and distributors. And there is this one of my distributors in Canada, Ecstasy Craft. They do this monthly Zoom call where they gather all their retailers, and then I invite me to go there. So I introduced this collection. I was thinking like they think I'm crazy, and I'm not sure how they like it or not. Never launched it. And then that collection, the animal ones, been one of the top sellers this year. And then a lot of
Because
people
that was
asking for
very
more.
very original and funny. I remember the strips with the funny lines. I totally, and that's you wrote them, right?
I wrote all of them. I called it sharp tongues. I call them
Those were
sharp
so
tongues.
amazing. I just get, translating them doesn't really always work. Doesn't always work the magic, because sometimes you can lose of the sense of the really funny thing. But I totally love them. It's so much you. I totally love it. Do you have any more animals planned? More
Animals, yes.
portraits? Yes.
Another exclusive things that will come this time. Not only that, there will be more coming of those animals. I'm just looking for this most crazy ideas. I have a notebook where I write all that. I found the new animals and crazy ideas. However, this time they're coming with their matching cat and dice.
Kitten dies.
The matching cat and dice. So you don't have to fuss
The
and cut
much.
them
Oh
this
my
time.
god, that's going to be so
Yeah.
successful. When?
Everyone, yeah. Oh, now you ask too much, clearly. Yeah.
I know. But you already entered the topic, so I just needed, I'm the interviewer here.
Okay, I have 2 dates in hand, so I'm aiming for September. If it doesn't happen September, it will be January 2027 because it all depends on the manufacturing process. I'm aiming for
And on
September.
the
If not,
shipments, I believe.
true, shipment as well. And then if not September, I have to jump to January because October, November is already done and sorted. And also, I'm not changing my October release. It's staying as it is.
Okay, I'm not asking. But where do you get all these great ideas? I mean, these ideas are just very unique in some ways. Where do you get inspired from? Is there anything that you do to pursue any new inspiration? Do you get it from
I've been
traveling, from
yeah.
people around you?
I've been asked this question all the time, all the time. And if you notice, like my if you want to call it artsy name, if you want to call it like Autour de moi, where you see it on all my channels and everyone on
Yes,
TV, they all called me apps Autour de moi. So Autour de moi, it means like around me in French,
yes.
which you translated. But moi usually it's spelled MOI in French, which is me. But me is
Mhm.
MWA, kind of different, because that's where I get my inspiration. If I think around me, sometimes I'm just chatting to someone and I see a color, I see a hairstyle, I see a texture, I see a story sometimes. Like, it's
Mm.
not like I get inspiration only by looking at art. anything can inspire me. Sometimes, like I just take random pictures when I'm walking around if I see anything, and then I just give. For me, inspiration. Well, this is very philosophical, like how my head works when it comes to inspiration. Is the more you feed your brain, the more inspired you get. So I keep feeding my. I see it as a lifestyle. Inspiration
Uh-huh.
for me is a lifestyle. It's like you don't have to look for inspiration just when you need to create something. It's like with me. So whatever I'm doing during the day at work, I'm gonna have socializing, traveling. I don't know, whatever I'm doing. Like
It's really
keep I
interesting what you said that you feed your brain
I keep
with
feeding my
things.
brain with yeah. So this is the life. It's part of my journey, it's lifestyle. Like now I'm the airport and I'm stuck here for 6 hours. Like, but I keep looking at things and I keep looking at. For example, the scene I was earlier, you're lying down trying to have a bit of sleep, and I was looking at all the lines that the graphic there because I had a sense of like when I did the release of the series, sorry, of lots of dots and lots of triangles and all of that,
Uh-huh.
and then I'm looking for new geometric shapes. Obviously, there's only certain so I need to invent something new now. And I was looking at that scene, it's like, brilliant. And it's all beautiful. I don't know if you can see all this. This is for Christmas spirit. And then, so yeah, it's kind of more of a lifestyle. So you just keep feeding your brain, not just when you need to create, but all the time. So that's for me how I see things differently. And I get these crazy ideas. And sometimes also bedtime. Bedtime also
Also
is
bedtime, of course, when your brain kind of tries to relax and the neurons just tell you,
bedtime.
I remember this thing I saw the other day, you should use
Because
it.
there's so much happening in my brain bedtime. So
I know, I know. That's kind of a feeling that I have that you never really stop. That's a problem for me too. But you are very active, and what surprises me the most is you are a very creative person, but also are really. You have degrees in economies, right? Do I remember
I,
that right? So that's
yes, I did.
really
Yes, I
two
did.
part of
Applied
the.
economics.
Yeah, it's two part of the gears that really work well together, or do you have them stuck sometimes? Because it's two different worlds if you imagine them, no?
100%, 100%. And I think, yeah, as you said, well, because you know my background, we met many times in trade shows and all around the world, and
Yeah.
yeah, numbers plays a big role in it. Like
But I
my love
remember
for
when you told
numbers
me
is that,
about your
yeah,
degrees, we were in London, and I was so incredibly shocked because you have a lot of, not because you have degrees, but because of the combination of such a creative person that you would not picture as a bachelor in economics. I don't know. That's kind of colliding, but I believe that those two opposites, if they work well together, like they do with you, they bring us to all create, and that's boosting success.
it's
That's
one of the
probably the
stamps that
trick.
I did. Yeah, one of the stamps that I did in 2017, I think. It was all about electric circuits and all of that. But
Yeah,
I got all of this from because my first degree is I'm an engineer. So when
you're
I
an
studied
engineer.
electricity, yeah, so when I did electricity and electronics, I had all this I don't know, all my books from back then, everything, and I saw all this electric circuits and everything. So what I did is I looked at all of them and then I started drawing my own one, but do it in arty way. So connecting to light bulbs, for example, and in between them, I was writing, adding scripts to it and then telling a story what I want, but turn it into stem set, but writing my handwriting and do it in a very how to say the way I was writing is that you cannot easily read it. So you see it as
Uh-huh,
a block instead of seeing it as a paragraph. So you see it as a
uh-huh.
block of one design, like
Yes.
texture. And I was connecting those light bulbs and doing my own circuits. So that's how I did that stem set and then that collection back then. So I was like, yeah, I sometimes I connect
It's
to my
really
degrees.
fascinating. It's really fascinating to see how you poured your side of such an educated and technical educated person into crafting, which doesn't really look like technical. I mean, engineering and crafting to me is like two separate universes, you know? But you pour them together, and that's not something people can do easily.
Mm.
Um, Basically, you tend to be like a humanistic person kind of person, or a engineering, mathematical, economical person. That's two different spheres of brain functionalities. And you have them all together in your, and it's so fascinating how you pour them into arts. I mean, the circuits, really. That's great. But does
Thank
your
you.
mind ever stop? That was one of the questions that I
No,
that I
no,
no, never. Do you
never. You
ever get
can't.
bored? Do you
Never.
ever get, never?
That's the thing.
I'm so biased.
That's the thing. Like, I love my job and I love what I do. I passionate a lot about it, and as I said, there are ups and downs, and the industry sometimes gets up and down, and forward last few years, if you compare it to pre-COVID, for example, it's not the same
Yes.
and everything, but the stimulation is still there. And when I wake up in the morning, I still want to do it. I still when I
I
carry on.
believe,
And
the industry is very tight at this moment, but we have the luck. And that's what I always tell my customers, that even though we go through very downs sometimes, we work in such a beautiful contest, and such, every time I sit at the table and I have to try the things that get into my store, just because, that's my job. And that really makes me feel happy. So if I didn't have that, the
so,
ups and downs, the downs would be very terrifying. And we're lucky because our industry is full of color and beautiful things and beautiful people too.
right,
You
colors
have a
is
huge
life.
community supporting you. You've built it up through years, and I believe that's a huge support to you personally, not only as a company, right?
I lost you for a second. What did you say?
Yes, I was telling you that you have a huge community at your back. You built it up through the years, and I believe that the support of the company is really huge and important personally, not only as a company, because they become your people. You know what I
Part of the
mean?
family. It's part of the
That's a
family.
family.
Yeah, it's part of the family now. It's yeah, you're right. It's all about the community.
It's all about the community, and we do have the luck to work in a really nice environment. Not everything is great at the moment for anyone, but we work in colors, so it's just you
I
know
wish I can do more. I wish I can do more and offer more to the community. It's just lack of time, and it's just you can't do everything. You have to choose sometimes, and yeah.
of
So,
course you have to choose. You have accomplished a lot, though. I mean, your company is really well known, is very successful. Is there anything further that you want to accomplish, a dream in a closet? Do you have any further plans, things you want to accomplish
what
at the next
with the
level?
business or outside?
Business, both, if you want to share.
I don't know because it's for me the dreams are like as it's different now. At the moment, I don't say there's a specific one that I want to accomplish, but
Uh-huh. Which
I
is
don't
a
know.
great answer. That means that
Maybe
you're happy with
tomorrow
what you
I
have.
wake up with it. Maybe tomorrow I wake up with a dream, and then it's like that's the new target. That's the new goal.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
So,
no. Personally, no. As I said, I always want to live out my passion. A lot of people think they had this before. Like they think I wasted my time doing all these degrees to ended up playing with paint, which is completely wrong because those
well,
degrees made me who I am today, gave me the brain,
exactly.
gave me the way I'm seeing things, and I got a lot thanks to that background and that all these years of
Well, degrees are never wasted. It's never a
never.
waste of time to increase your
But the
knowledge.
way I think now, the way I solve problems and the way I see things and like is thanks to that journey. And
Of
it was
course.
like I was such fortunate and lucky enough to have that background.
Of course, and that made you into the all and create creator. It would have been completely different if you hadn't, followed that journey. So, studying is never a waste of time, and it made you who you are. And I'm so happy that you did it. It's a fascinating how the two souls can live together. So it's probably what makes you so unique, I believe. You
Yes,
know. And what
definitely.
about in 5 years' time? Do you still see yourself as a head of all and create? Do you still want to pursue this path in working life?
Would would a dad or a mom change their mind 5 years about their kids? They always want to be the best parent. They always want to be there for them. So
Of
the
course,
answer to your
yes.
question is obvious now.
Of course. I mean, that's really nice. That's really nice. And so, how much of your time goes into your company? I believe most of it, because you are
a
always.
day, a day, I'd say between 28 and 38 hours a day.
That really pictures it well. I know. I
A
know.
day,
I can
yeah.
relate that because it's your baby. I
You
know. I
can't switch
know.
off. You can't. You can't
You
switch off.
can't. I know. I know. I know. So, is there anything you like to do when you want to? I'm not sure if you really want to close the window of the job time. You know what I mean? If you want to break free from the work time. I don't know if you have that feeling. You probably don't, because you love it so much, and it's probably always a connection that you feel and treasure. But let's say you're tired on a day after 28 years of work. 28 hours of work, sorry. Is there anything that you do to relax and to just release your thoughts and not think about work? I don't know, maybe traveling, going out with
It
friends, movies?
definitely. I try to do that a lot, especially now. I try to,
Mhm.
because it's healthy. You need that. It's this.
Yes.
You need to recharge your battery so you work better the next day or the next month or whatever. And so I try to do that a lot. Like I try to, yeah, I love all sorts of like social activities and also traveling a lot. And so, but at the same time, you can't switch 100% because if I'm, let's say, okay, I'm not working, but then I just open one of my socials, let's say Instagram, whatever, and then I see all my feed, all my suggestions is all about art and artwork because that's why I've been, I don't know, following for years and interested in that for years. So even my algorithm now is all about that. So I found myself like, even okay, I'm not working, but I found myself, screenshot this one. This is a new idea. Oh, get this one. Oh, who is this one? Oh, start following this account. And so it's like
I feel
it's a
that too, and
circle.
somehow, even though when I'm with my friends, when I'm out with my friends, it's just impossible not to scroll the phone, and then your mind connects to the job part and to the funny part because you see new things and you get inspired and you get maybe new ideas. So I believe it's different when you are a creator in such an industry. I don't really see an engineer do so during his time
Yeah,
off.
I think it's this type of the industry. You summed it like really well. So you have to. You have. It's not like you can choose. You can choose. Maybe you can choose to limit what you do and everything, but does not mean it's right or wrong. It does not mean that's the right thing to do. But I mean, if you want to be creative, then it's a lifetime agreement. You have to
Yes, it's a lifetime agreement or a
commitments
lifetime sentence. It depends
and
on
lifetime
how,
sentence.
points of view. But it's nice. I'm one of those person. I'm one of those people who leave with the phone in their hands. And there's a part that kind of feels a weight.
Mm.
Administration, customer care sometimes. But then the community sharing a thought, the community commenting something, it really brings me back to what's beautiful in my job. And so it's just not really job anymore. It's
It's
become
not a
so
job anymore.
connected with our lives, I believe. I can totally relate to what you say. So people who don't know me or tell me that I am a workaholic, probably true, but I work
A
in such a
proud
beautiful.
workaholic. Proud workaholic. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, me too. I don't mind it too. I mean, I would like a little bit more boredom so that I can work on my things a little bit with a little more
Oh,
ease.
come on,
But I'm
Clelia.
so happy that I am addicted to this world. I mean, why not? Explain me. People just do not understand, but it's okay. I don't really need them to understand. That's what I tell them.
Yes, be yourself. Don't. Just don't.
So,
Let them be.
so
And let them be themselves as well.
oh yeah, the people really need to talk sometimes, but you don't really have to listen. That's not
But also,
necessary.
we need those people as well because can you imagine if we're all the same? The world would be a boring place.
Yeah, I think you could do without a couple of those people, anyways. Just saying, just a
Just
couple.
saying. Okay, yeah.
So, um,
Maybe minority.
maybe. So, just you told me a lot of things, and I'm sure people will love to hear your story. It's always very interesting, and you've been through a lot work wise. So, and you're such. How old are you? Do you want to say
34.
that? If you don't want to say that, it's okay.
34.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't
I
understand.
said 34.
34. So you're a baby. Apps, and you've accomplished so much in just one person. You've had so many careers in just one person. I used to work in the HR, so I would scan applications every day, and your application, if you should make one, would be like your resume would be like 5 pages long to list all your skills, all your experiences. So you've been through a lot, you know, which makes you professionally probably a little bit older, but in such a young age. So, are you happy with where you are right now and what you have accomplished as far as now?
100%. I would not change this for the world.
Okay, that's a great answer. So, um, you told me everything I wanted to know, basically. So I will just ask you if you, every time we do this podcast with a guest, I ask the guest to give us a little homework to do, like a project, like a tag or a card or a layout, whatever you want, with a suggestion for the use of a die set or a color or a theme. Would you want to do this for the community too?
I would love to, and it has to be green, green for life.
I'm sorry. It has to
It has
be.
to be green, green for life.
Green, green for life. Okay. Does it have to be in the form of a tag or a card? Can they choose?
Let them sing their heart out.
That's in their heart out. Yeah, that's really good. Let's them let craft their heart out. Okay, green. It has to be green. Okay. Okay, that's gonna be really nice. I will create an album on our
Lovely
group.
challenge, actually.
People are sometimes they need to be triggered to do something. I have a very large community, considering I'm in Italy. That's a really large Italian community. They do not post. They do not post their jobs, their works, their crafts. They tend to prefer chatting. So I usually like to trigger them, and the homework given by the people on the podcast are really always welcome, and they do work and craft and show them, which is nice. Sharing your art crafts. That's what we are basing our job on. It's very important.
Absolutely.
So I
It's
will
good
send
to
you.
challenge yourself as well. Sometimes the challenge really helps a lot.
Yeah, they help a lot, and they trigger people to do something. Sometimes they do not have the inspiration, so a couple of tips and triggers might be working well with some of them, and they really enjoy doing that. So I will create an album in the group and then tell you about it if you want to go and see it.
Please
And
do.
so I suppose you still have a couple hours left with the delayed
I
flight.
think more than that.
More than that. So I'm so very grateful for you to spend your time at the airport with us.
Honestly,
Thank you
it's
so
my
much for fitting
honor.
us
It's
in your
my honor.
schedule. Thank you
It's
so
my
much
honor.
for,
Thank you
for
so
fitting us
much.
there. So we'll see you soon, probably with a new release very soon, I suppose. I'm not sure in the date about the date where I will publish this. Probably 15 days, because I'm
So it will be just after. So it will be just after
just
my release, because this coming Friday is the launch of my steampunk collection. So
okay.
yeah,
Yes, I think I have seen that and prepared that. Yes, because you release every month, so
monthly
it's a
release. Yes.
scheduling, and people
Usually
expect it.
it's yes. We usually try to do the first Friday of the month.
Okay, so this will be definitely so. This is very close. That will be 2 weeks later, so we can
Yes.
probably tell them to play if they like with some of the new releases. I will tell them.
Steampunk.
So it's going to be really nice. So thank you so much again for your time, and I'm really hoping to see you soon again. And have a
Thank
safe
you
flight
so much.
back home. And thank you.
Grazie mille, grazie mille,
Oh,
grazie mille.
thank you.